Us live with the latest. Leticia.
Well, Mark, this appears to be the break in the case the family had been hoping for. Police telling us they've arrested 3 suspects in the murder of 40-year-old Alejandro Padilla. Now, they also tell us that one of the suspects used to date Padilla's daughter. Now, earlier this afternoon, Fontana police and crime scene investigators were at the apartment complex where one of the suspects lives. There they were gathering evidence. Now, you may remember that 2 weeks ago, Padilla vanished after it appears that he was ambushed, beaten, and then kidnapped in his driveway as he was getting ready to make his way to work. Now, neighbors did report hearing Padilla's cries for help. They say that when police arrived, though, both Padilla and his car were gone. But later that evening in Rialto, a car fire was reported, and when firefighters put out the blaze, that's when they found Padilla's body in the charred car. Now, the investigation is still ongoing, but it appears the motive behind the murder may have been a bad relationship between Padilla's daughter and one of the suspects.
One of these suspects, Edward Anthony Morales, was apparently the ex-boyfriend of Padilla's daughter. So he knew them, he knew the family, and was well acquainted with the whole family.
Was there some tension in the relationship that led to this?
Apparently there was in the past. I don't know to what extent that the father was involved in the ending of the relationship, but the relationship did end at some point.
And it's still unknown exactly what led to this kidnapping murder, but police, or just yesterday actually, Padilla's family held a vigil for the victim in that they were hoping to draw attention and find justice for him. They were also offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of some suspects. It's unclear if that reward money is what led to this today. Now, as for what police are telling us about this investigation, so far they have arrested 2 people. Edward Morales, who used to date Padilla's daughter, he's been charged, or he will be charged with murder, along with Richard Gonzalez. They also tell us they have taken Morales' mother into custody, and she will likely be charged as an accessory to murder as well. Reporting live here in Fontana, Leticia Juarez, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Leticia, thank you. A Colorado transient has pleaded.
A crackdown on the Mexican mafia in Southern California. Suspects arrested, guns confiscated, and investigators say a major drug network busted.
Okay, that's way up.
Mark Brown.
I'm Michelle Tuesday, new at 5. That crackdown aimed at disrupting ties between the Mexican mafia prison gang and the Mexican drug cartel. Eyewitness News reporter Sid Garcia is live at Montebello with more on the arrests. Sid.
When the arrests were made this morning, the suspects were brought here to Montebello PD to be processed. This investigation began, according to law enforcement authorities, with an informant's tip in May of 2010. During that 3-year investigation, hundreds of pounds of drugs were seized, worth millions of dollars. And in the process, according to federal authorities, they busted up a business merger between the Mexican mafia and a Mexican drug cartel. According to federal authorities, 2 separate investigations led to the breakup of one very large drug distribution network. At the Montebello police station this morning, suspects were being booked and processed for allegedly taking part in a drug distribution and sales operation involving the Mexican mafia, the La Familia Mexican drug cartel, and the Florencia 13th Street gang. On display, more than 24 weapons, photographs of the hundreds of pounds of methamphetamine seized, and the names of the men and women arrested. Those pictured are still being sought by law enforcement. According to the ATF, the drug cartel gave the Mexican mafia $150,000 to start their business arrangement.
La Familia would provide thousands of dollars in drug proceeds and pound quantities of methamphetamines to the Mexican mafia in return for free reign on the streets and protection in the prison system.
According to law enforcement, since the Mexican mafia controls most of the Latino street gangs in Southern California, the La Familia drug cartel wouldn't have to worry about gangs stealing their drugs and money.
They had thought about this and thought that this would be a productive way to expand their business. Fortunately for law enforcement, we were on top of that, and we think today's indictment and our investigation really helped stop and prevent that merger from full fruition.
And according to a drug enforcement agency, 600 pounds of methamphetamine was seized during this 3-year investigation. The value of those narcotics, according to the DEA, $19 million. Reporting live from Montebello PD, I'm Sid Garcia, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Sid,
Dang. That's a gang of money. Well, if you're talking about the Mexican Mafia for the LA, Florencia, avenues, they're the big dudes. So it's not surprising that the dudes from Mexico wanted protection. They do the same down in San Diego, because they know that the numbers are with the Chicano street gangs. Not Hispanic, not Latino, Chicano street gangs. And dang, Florencia is really big, and they just took down a whole gang of people. Now, all this means is, are we winning the war on drugs? Nope. La Gran Familia drug cartel, never even heard of that. And I've heard of every drug cartel in Mexico, so I've never heard of that drug cartel. But anyways, are we winning the war on drugs? No, because if we were, then everybody'd be out of jobs. The prison system, the cops, probation department, the sheriffs, attorney generals, I mean everybody that works in the prison, from whatchamacallit, from making the clothes to the food contracts to the bed contracts. I mean, there's a lot of money in prisoners and keeping gangs and drugs flowing. They do the same with the black community. So all this is going to do is give a chance for the Rolling 60s, who are rivals to the Florencia gang, to kind of fill in the gap, because everybody from Florencia is going to be hiding out, and because there's so much heat on them. So it's kind of like in Pomona, when we'd have trouble over on the east side on Kingsley, all the cops would go over there. There'd be like 3-4 murders on one block, and then everything would ship down to the south, and then the cops would go down there after a few murders, and then everything was shipped to the west side, from the west side to the north, and then the central on Holt, and then it just, would go back and forth. So do we really want to win the war on drugs? No, because it was the president. Actually, it was Reagan, when he was governor, who brought the drugs, who allowed the drugs and the government to bring the drugs in when the Black Panther was emerging in the late 60s, mid to late 60s, and that got them all cracked out. So it's just another thing that's going on. But I'm the hood pastor, and I'm out.